the marriage-based society and replace it with a culture of sexual promiscuity, in which there's no restrictions on sexual conduct except the principle of mutual choice.
That was Scott Lively. In the report that you have done, Reverend Kapia Keoma, you say in the United States the renewal groups are the problem. In the Episcopal Church, the United Methodist Church USA, the Presbyterian Church USA, U.S. Conservative Evangelicals, and the Institute on Religion and Democracy, the neoconservative think tank that for decades has sought to undermine Protestant denominations' tradition of progressive social justice work. Are you having members of these churches supporting your work? And I wanted to ask Frank Mugisha that question as well, from these very churches that are opposing those within these churches that are working towards this anti-gay legislation.
I must say that we had an advisory board from some of these churches, like the Episcopal Church, the Methodist Church, and the Presbyterian Church, and the role they played is just to allow us to understand the politics of anti-gay politics in their churches. As to work with them directly on this bill, we know that their churches have sent statements opposing the bill in Uganda. The presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church in America has sent a statement condemning the bill. The same thing has happened from other groups, but we don't necessarily work with them directly. What we are trying to do is to let them know that these groups of the renewal movements are doing a lot of harm outside the world using the gay politics, and what they should do is to come up with a strategy of countering this, because if they don't counter it, then the people in Africa are going to suffer the consequences.
Frank Mugisha, your response, and can you talk about where you're traveling in the United States, as you are a spokesperson for sexual minorities group called Sexual Minorities Uganda?
Thank you so much. My take on the support is that of course, there are some religious groups that have come out and condemned this bill, but I'll give you a small background of my activism in Uganda. My activism comes in because I'm a gay person in Uganda. Because of the hostility we've gone through, because of the homophobia faced in Uganda, we find ourselves doing this kind of work, but we don't have the research, we don't have the kind of support that the people like who fight homosexuality in Uganda have. People like Pastor Martin Sempa, they have PhDs, they have strong supporters who even come down and support them from the grassroots. But in Uganda, for us, the research, like the political research issues did, this was a tool that was one of its kind that we've started using at this moment. And we would like such kind of support to continue happening for us. And then talking about the religious groups that support us in Uganda, people who are progressive and liberal to homosexuality in my country, if they come out and support us, then they are going to be labeled homosexuals themselves, which becomes kind of dangerous for them and their families, because Uganda is very homophobia. So they come out and support, and then they tend to shy away again. We've got people who have supported us and have been labeled homosexuals. So this kind of environment gives us very little support. That's why
Frank Mugisha, we're going to have to leave it there, and I thank you for being with us. The show is ending. Frank Mugisha, spokesperson for Sexual Minorities Uganda, and Reverend Kapia Keoma with the Political Research Associates. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Our website, democracynow.org.